Well, speaking of not giving up, Chris Jericho is apparently his, meaning of life now. His mission is to destroy all of the legacy and respect that Ring of Honor had, right? He's going to be the sports entertainer. It's going to tear up Ring of Honor, the company that no longer exists. And the guy that's trying to uphold the honor of Ring of Honor is former Ring of Honor champion Dalton Castle. I was gone a few years before Dalton Castle came into Ring of Honor. I don't remember I've ever met him. I don't know that I've ever seen him have a long match. I think I've seen some clips. I thought he was, at one point I saw him do some great German suplex shit. He's a very strong young man, but I've never seen the gimmick in full bloom. And now I have. And, this is like Adrian Street. Adrian Street came along and in the 80s when he came over from England and stood out. It was completely different from everything. Nobody was doing, at least in the territories that Adrian was in, was doing anything remotely flamboyant like that. So if Dalton Castle was in a situation like that where he was the only one, I might buy this. But since every goddamn thing on this show and every goddamn thing on every other show looks so fucking visually ridiculous and silly and hokey and fake and blah, blah, this didn't stand out. This just added to the fucking stink of the carnival fucking livestock car. So the guy trying to uphold the honor of Ring of Honor when Jericho went for the Code of Honor at the beginning of the match, Dalton Castle puts his hand down the front of his tights, plays with his crotch, and then pulls out a fucking finger for Jericho for the Code of Honor. He's the one upholding the honor of Ring of Honor. Ian Riccaboni was on color. He should be the host of every program Tony has. But Sockface is a friend. And Dalton Castle came out with 9 of what they called the boys. They're all dressed in Mardi Gras masks and what did I say about Sonny Kiss that one time made everybody upset? He looked like he got off his day show as a drag queen at the Tropicana. Well, they look like they're in the chorus line of I don't know what. I don't know where they even got these costumes. But at one point, Jake Hager gets up on the apron of the ring, and Dalton Castle nails him off to the floor, and then one of the boys jumps in the ring. This is during the match. One of the boys jumps in the ring, and he grabs the boy and throws him out of the ring through the ropes onto Hager. Then another one, and then a third one. That was the break spot. And I determined at that point that I would not be returning after the break. I skipped ahead and Jericho retained.
You didn't see them brawling on the floor, throwing punches at Jake Hager?
No, I did not.
You have to go back and see that. Jake Hager, who you want to talk about the power of Chris Jericho. Jake Hager, who's been there since the beginning, getting a very nice contract, has meant nothing to anyone there. Jake Hager is on the floor with his purple hat, and the boys surround him and start punching in his direction. A few of them looked like they were almost punching him, but a few of them were just punching air. And the camera was right there, right on top of it.
Well, somehow, after Jericho retained, Jericho and all of his minions ended up on the stage, and Jerry Lynn was chastising them. He's an agent there, so Jericho picks up Jerry Lynn and gave him a tombstone pile driver on the stage like he was my Aunt Lola. In the words of Dusty Rhodes, don't do shit you don't know how to do. If you can't do the move, don't do the move. He thought it'd be a great idea to tombstone Jerry Lynn on the entrance stage and then realized that he was going to kill him because he couldn't do it. So he bent his knees and did like a squat and then kind of set down forward a little bit. I mean, I've gotten out of bed harder. And I'm not suggesting, because I love Jerry Lynn, known him since the fucking late 80s. I'm not suggesting he should have hurt him. I'm suggesting he shouldn't have done the fucking move. What'd you think of it? Was it dangerous from your perspective?
I mean, it was the safest tombstone pile driver I've ever seen in my life. It was unnecessary. I mean, let me ask you this. Everyone knows what I think. I don't have to say it. If you're booking something where you have a guy who wins a championship and he's going to show his superiority over the past, I mean, if you're watching this and the booking's not obvious, I don't know what is. I mean, Jericho's just going to steamroll over every champion. And what are you watching for if you know the result of the match? Because you know what's going to happen. I mean, it's not going to make all of a sudden, oh, this week Jericho surprisingly lost to Austin Aries on AEW TV. Former Ring of Honor champion has won it back. He's just going to beat every champion they have there. What do you think of all this stuff with Jericho and Ring of Honor? He went after Riccaboni. He beat up Bobby Cruz. He's going after their champions. Again, Ring of Honor's all over this show. Am I just being too hard on this?
Well, no, a lot of people are saying, well, it's good because, Jericho being the Ring of Honor champion, he's a name people know that could help him get a TV deal. And I've mentioned this before. Bryan Danielson is a name they know, and he ought to be able to help him get a TV deal. If Jericho can, and Danielson's of the same status, and he fits the suit. Danielson wrestled in Ring of Honor before. He has history, and he can do the style. And he can have great matches with others that can make them better that do the style. Jericho, it's a vanity project. It's a championship so he can beat people. And again, they didn't bring in a succession of outstanding independent stars to put their own fucking champions over. But because it's Jericho, oh yeah, Tony, bring somebody different in every week for me to beat. That's the story here. Well, that's kind of what you do to get anybody over. So no, Jericho does not fit at all. And I don't know how that Tony thinks he's going to launch a separate promotion when he can't take care of the one he's got. And then you're going to have a situation where if Taven and Bennett are for Ring of Honor and the Briscoes have been signed to Ring of Honor and Jay Lethal's going to be figured into Ring of Honor.
Colt Cabana.
And blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm talking
Brian
about
Cage.
legit, I'm talking about talent. He's got talent that people would want to see on the AEW program instead of these outlaw fucking darlings that he signed 3 years ago, but he's going to stick them in Ring of Honor. So doesn't make sense.